Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. In the past month, Bangladesh has witnessed drastic changes, from arresting of Hindu leaders like Chinmoy Das to holding of open rallies targeting Hindus to destroying temples and targeting Hindu homes. What's going on is nothing short of a genocide. 50 years ago, about 2.5 lakh Indian armed personnel were involved in the liberation of Bangladesh and its freedom from the atrocities of Pakistan Army and General A.K. Niazi. Today, what Mohammad Yunus is powering is nothing short of a return of that East Pakistan. We will now speak with men who were part of that fight for liberation and understand what they think is going on in Bangladesh. Joining us live at this point is Major Chandrakant Singh, 1971 war veteran. He's also a Veer Chakra awardee. Welcome. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Thank you.
Let me begin by asking you, Major Singh, about if you can take us through your memories of the 1971 Liberation War and also just tell us a bit about your role in that conflict.
Firstly, what's happening in Bangladesh now, I'm very hurt and very angry. I'm hurt because I love the people of Bangladesh. A small minority, which includes the army, has taken over illegally the reins of that country. And perhaps out of all the people in India and even some people in Bangladesh, I am better qualified to speak on what's happening in Bangladesh because I know the principal characters of that time. General Ziaur Rahman, in 1971, who became after assassination of Mujibur Rahman, became the president of Bangladesh. On 10th of April, 1971, he crossed over at a place called Sabroom, which today is the site of the Maitri Bridge from Agartala to Chittagong. And for the next 3 months, he stayed with my battalion, quite often spending the night in my tent. As proof, I bring to you a document of that time which says Zia served with us for 3 months, from 10th of April to middle of July. This document is from 1971 itself. Thereafter, I was present on the 22nd of April when the Bangladesh government taken exile, led by Mr. Tajuddin Ahmed, was brought over to Dhaka by General Sagat Singh and handed over reins of the government to the democratically elected representative of the Bangladesh government. That's on 22nd of December, 1971, just a week after liberation. The Americans occupied Iraq, occupied Afghanistan, and they didn't leave it for 20 years. They came into Europe after the Second World War, and they're still there. On the 10th of January 1972, Mujibur Rahman arrived in Dhaka. I was made responsible for the security of the airport and I received him. On the 12th of March 1972, my battalion gave a farewell parade to Mujibur Rahman. This is the photograph of the parade. Mujibur Rahman taking part, the salute of my battalion. And down below is the copy of the program, which has been signed by him and by his daughter, Sheikh Hasina. On the other side are all the cabinet ministers. This is the original program. When Sheikh Hasina signed this program, when we requested her to sign this program, which is on top is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's signature, below is her signature, she had tears in her eyes. She says this is the only document which has her signature below her father's signature. After the farewell parade, on a personal request, the Indian Army had completely withdrawn from Bangladesh, but battalion stayed on at the personal request of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, because he was having some trouble in the Chittagong Hill tracks with the escaped Pakistani prisoners and some insurgents. And so we stayed on till the end of August, which meant from April 71 to August 72, I was involved in some way or another with Bangladesh, and I knew all their principal freedom fighters. Ziaur Rahman, Khalid Musharraf, Shafiullah, Colonel Sajjad, the whole lot of them I knew personally. And you'd like to know what Sheikh Mujibur Rahman had to say about us?
Yes.
In 1972. On the farewell parade, this is what he said. What the hell are my glasses?
Absolutely. But now, the fact is, Major Singh, that, they want to rid the country of any sort of mention of what happened earlier. Do you see an Islamist surge in Bangladesh? Do you believe it's a return of what Bangladesh was before its liberation?
Very much so. The fundamentalists have got hold of it, and the fundamentalists get the support of the Pakistan army, or not of the Pakistan army, of the Bangladesh army. It's a military coup that has taken place in Bangladesh. Now, you must remember one thing, that the roots of the Bangladesh army are in the Pakistan army, where it calls the shots and will not allow any democratically elected government or people to take control. This was set in motion by the assassination of Mujibur Rahman and by General Ziaur Rahman. Now, just to give you an idea of what type of people they were, the erstwhile Pakistan army persons serving in Bangladesh and their present-day successors. You know what Zia did on the 26th of March 1971? He was the second in command of the East Bengal Regiment in Chittagong. He arrested all the Pakistani officers of his own regiment, including his own commanding officer, and their wives and children, and he killed all of them. That is the type of bloodlust that this army, erstwhile army of Pakistan and their successors in the present army of Bangladesh is. And they have the support of the Islamists, because Sheikh Hasina had been able to control it. Here, I would like to go back to the events post 16 December 71. After the liberation, the freedom fighters were singling out all the support, the Razakars and the other supporters of the Pakistan army, and they started killing them. We put a stop to it in 3 days' time. Now I wish, it is not a right thing to wish, but I think we should have allowed the freedom fighters to avenge themselves on the supporters of the Pakistan army for another fortnight.
Yes.
And there would have been none of them, this bloodthirsty lot left.
Would you like then to warn the people of Bangladesh against this regime which is carrying out the genocide of Hindus and the threat perhaps that it poses to Bangladesh going forward?
Well, the results of the economic results are already being felt. It's not that our government is quiet. There are a lot of things they do behind the scenes which are not made public. As you know, their power supply from India has been cut into half. Their export of cotton garments has almost collapsed, and India is filling in the gap. And that is and they're dependent on rice from our country. The agitation against the present government has already started. It may be lying low at the moment, but the beginnings are there.
Okay. Also, do you feel disappointed then that the youth has forgotten what all India did for Bangladesh, the sacrifices that Indian forces made for Bangladesh?
Well, you're right in a way that they've forgotten, or I would say they would like to forget. They know what happened. And this process started soon after the liberation. It's not something new. It started they were trying to wipe out India's role in this. On my part, along with some of the Mukti Bahani veterans, we tried to rectify this thing, by bringing out a joint liberation book, Liberation Bangladesh 71, in which the authors are Bangladeshis and Indians. This is the first time a jointly authored book was brought out. And this book was released by their former president, Mr. Ahmad Ali, Sitting there is General Jacob, and behind Jacob is I'm standing. This was the first attempt that we should present the story holistically of the joint efforts of Indians and Bangladeshis. But I think we failed to do that. Part of the blame lies with us. Part, they had their own vested interests to forget about India.
Okay. Let me, in fact, thank you then, Major Chandrakant Singh, for joining us with your perspective on this big story. Let me also quickly now join Brigadier Basant Ponwar, 1971 war veteran, who's also live with us. Brigadier Ponwar, thank you very much for being with us today. Brigadier Ponwar, let me begin by asking you a bit about your memories, of course, of the 1971 war, your role then, and also just tell us a bit about what the Pakistani army had done to the people of Bangladesh before the liberation.
First and foremost, I was the second lieutenant that time, just 22 years old. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
So, on 25th March, I was in Nagaland when we heard that 1971, that there's been a genocide started, Operation Torch has started, and the Awami League, which got a total majority vote in East and West Pakistan, has to be put down. And the West Pakistani army forces has started gathering up all the intellectuals and putting them to book and slaughtering them, and extreme law and order situation started because they were treating East Pakistan as their own colony. And then the refugees started coming in. It was a ball by ball activity going on. The refugees started coming in, and India had to do its bit of being a good neighbor. We were asked by them to come and help us in some way that this activity stops. We trained their young boys and girls. Many of the boys had this bravery written in their eyes that they will liberate their own nation. That's what Sheikh Mujibur Rahman told them on 25th March. Take up weapons and liberate your nation. And that's how the whole story started. First they were doing it themselves, then the army, almost 9 divisions, surrounded Bangladesh from 5 directions and entered. I was in the northern sector from Meghalaya. We carried out certain international boundary operations to dominate the IB by carrying out special missions across the border along with the Mukti Bahini forces who were there all the time. The Pakistani grouped themselves up in theatre fortresses like Jamalpur, Memon Singh, Hisar, and some others all along. So then, by about 25th November, after several cross-border operations were done, special mission operations were done, we knew exactly where they were and what they were doing. Pakistani forces were hell-bent on holding on to these fortresses. And then started the 1st December, we got to know that Pakistan is going to preempt an attack. They're going to preempt this activity by attacking in the western sector. Firing started in some form, the small arms, and then airstrike took place on 1st December, the airstrike, correction, we got to know on the 1st December that airstrike will take place on 3rd in the evening time on the western airfields, and then we will be asked, we will be ordered by the Honorable Government and the Prime Minister to liberate Bangladesh. And that's exactly what happened on 3rd December. We were all ready. We crossed the border, and the north, we went towards Bakshiganj. Bakshiganj was the first opposition with our brigade, 95 Brigade, surrounded it. Pakistani 93 Brigade was in that sector. We surrounded Bakshiganj. In the process of building up, their company commander, a coincidental name called Major Ayub, he was killed. And this forces, about 100 odd Pakistanis, were ordered to withdraw to Jamalpur. Jamalpur was the theatre fortress where they were supposed to fight to the last man, last round, and Memon Singh close by, along the banks of the Brahmaputra River. The Brahmaputra River in this area did not have a bridge, and we had made our plans how to be going to get across. On 5th December night, the garrison of of Pakistan in Bakshiganj withdrew to Jamalpur. They did not fight there. We occupied Bakshiganj on 5th morning, and by 6th December, we were off, infiltrating along track routes, bullock cart routes towards Jamalpur. On the night of 6th, 7th December, we were on the banks of the Brahmaputra River. And 7th, 8th, we crossed the Brahmaputra from about 8 to 10 kilometers away from Jamalpur, and surrounded Jamalpur. The whole brigade and another brigade surrounded Jamalpur. Jamalpur garrison was surrounded from the south by our battalion, the 1st Marathas, Jangi Paltan. On the axis, Jamalpur, Dhaka. And that's where the thing happened. That we tried a salve on the Jamalpur garrison commander, Colonel Sultan Ahmed. We told him that you've been surrounded.
Yes.
In the interest of troops, you better surrender. He decided to fight. He was a Sitar-e-Zurat, a warrior. And on that evening of 10th, 11th December, we got a message that they are planning to break out, because the multi forces from the east and the west, from Jashore side and from Tripura side, 4 corps, were closing into Dhaka. They wanted troops to be in Dhaka. And that's where on the night of 10th, 11th December, the Pakistani forces attacked our roadblock position.
Yes.
Bringing them to death, they shouted their war cry, Pakistan Zindabad, Allahu Akbar. And our great Marathas who were from the village and highly trained, they were firing onto those spots of bullets. And then the whole battlefield was lit up by the glowing vehicles which were blown up. They were all silhouetted. Any direction the Pakistani forces met, they were knocked out. In the morning, our battalion commander, Colonel Braur and Satish Nambiar, all were there. And then we got up at about 4:30.
Absolutely.
There was a voice call by the Pakistani fellow.
Absolutely. And that was, of course, the bravery shown, which many are very upset about and feel sad about the fact that, it is forgotten, perhaps by the Bangladeshi youth of today. But do you believe this Islamist surge in Bangladesh is deja vu? This is a return of what Bangladesh was before its liberation, and that is unfortunate.
When we liberated Bangladesh and we finished, as the previous person was saying, Bangladesh was moving towards great progress, and now they are destroying their own country. Like I said some time back, that is ghar ko aag lag gayi, ghar ke chirag se. Hum aapas mein lad rahe hain. We gave them a nation on the plate on 16 December 1971. And now the confusion which has started, they're bringing down all the buildings, they're bringing down the museums and all things which will be of so useful for economic development of the nation, which they were going. And now there is total confusion of one race against the another.
Okay.
This needs to be interfered with. There are various agencies of the world who are there for providing security,
absolutely,
and peace and tranquility.
Absolutely, Brigadier Pawar. No, that's a very, very important point made by you. Appreciate you joining us. Many thanks to you for joining us with your perspective on this story. Let me now bring in Colonel Tajinder Pal Tyagi, 1971 war veteran, who's also with us live, Veer Chakra awardee. Colonel Tyagi, thank you for being with us today. Your memories of the 1971 Liberation War. Tell us about your role, also about what the situation was at that time, the atrocities committed by the Pakistanis, which led the Indian forces, of course, to help the local people.
I do not have the type of stories which Major Chandrakant and Brigadier Basant Pawar had. I was having only 1 month service. I was part of a field company and I was attached to 14 J&K rifle as a platoon commander. On 3rd December, when there were Operation Chamgez Khan laid out and there were air strikes, at the same time in the evening, there were simultaneous attacks by the Pakistani forces. We were deployed on a canal known as the Upper Berry Canal in Firozpur sector, Patti, Bikkivind, Lahore axis, and almost as a part of the vanguard of the Indian Army I was deployed there. In the night, there were 3 attacks. All the 3 attacks were beaten back by the young soldiers of 14 J&K rifles. Morning at about 7 a.m., we demolished a bridge when the armored formation of the Pakistanis were about to cross the Upper Berry Canal. This was my role on 3rd December. From 3rd December to 16th December, different type of roles were given to me. It was on 8th December that I was given the task of constructing a temporary tank crossing on a canal, as I told you, Upper Berry Canal. I did that, but during that operation, there was a village opposite known as China Bedi Chand. The Pakistan had mounted, their forces had mounted the light machine guns, the medium machine guns, rifles on trees, and they opened fire on us instantaneously. 5 of my soldiers got bullet wounds. Instead of coming back to the rendezvous, which I had told them initially, but they went towards the village and they went into the enemy village. In the enemy village, in a Sarkanda zone, they went there. I also ran behind them. Ran means I crawled behind them. And I said that come back. They said, no, sir, we are now not in a position to even hold our weapon. How can we come with you? I said, all right, I am going back. They told me, sir, you are leaving us and going back. I told them that if I reach alive, then I will surely come back to retrieve you. And sir, I did that. This is how I got Veer Chakra. Me and my batman, we went back after arranging a covering fire. We went to the enemy territory again, brought our 5 wounded back. All the 5 wounded, because they had the bullet wounds, they had to give their dying declaration. They gave declaration. My name came in their declaration that one Lieutenant Tyagi brought us back from the enemy village. Their statement became my citation. And all the 5 of them, they did not die. 2 of them were boarded out and 3 of them joined the unit. So they were the witness of what I did in bringing them from the enemy village. So this is about how I got the Veer Chakra. But the point is that by the time 16th December reached, we were upbeat. We were ready to fight. We were so happy with the happening taking place in the East Pakistan. The grim battle took place on the Western Front, not on the Eastern Front. On the Western Front, in that grim battle, we were in a now position to go further. I will tell you, that was the time when people were saying, when our soldiers were saying, कि कुछ दिन और तो चलने देते इस बलिदानी दौर को और लगे हाथ निमटा ही देते पिंडी और लाहौर को. That was the situation. The ceasefire was called early. It was a mistake. If we had continued for a week more, then probably Lahore was with us. But
okay, now talking about the Islamist surge that is happening today in Bangladesh, what do you make of it? Do you feel it's a return of what Bangladesh was before its liberation?
Sir, Bangladesh, it is not that difficult a situation, sir. Now, to expect something from Muhammad Yunus is useless. Donald Trump has said, United Nations has said, British Parliament has said that what is happening on your minorities is not correct. But Yunus is not taking any action. Even if he takes action, he is not capable. Sir, he does not have teeth. He does not have nails. Nobody listens to him. In his cabinet, there are 15 such members who belongs to either Jamaat-e-Islami or Ansarul Bangla or Jamaatul Mujahideen, and they are being supported by ISI of Pakistan. And now the situation is turning grim in the sense that Pakistan has supplied to Bangladesh about 4 times the artillery ammunition, the anti-tank ammunition, and not only that, They have also sent a jihadi battalion there, and they are now conducting a training near the chicken neck, that is the Siliguri corridor. This is one. And secondly, the China is now helping a big way. I mean, not as earlier, now a big way in constructing 50 warships and about 8 submarines in Pakistan. And whenever there is a political turmoil in any country, the problem can be seen on the border. Means there may be something. Now, under such situation, saying that we will stop the trading of clothes and trading of food items to Bangladesh.
Yes.
Sir, we have got a export with Bangladesh of 12 billion. And Bangladesh has of less than 1 billion.
Absolutely.
If we stop it, we will also lose it. What can be done is this. I wish to bring it out. The what can be done is this कि मदारी जब बंदर को ट्रेन करता है, कुत्ते को पीटता है ताकि बंदर को समझ में आ जाए.
Okay.
Now to give a message to Bangladesh, we can use our standoff
Yes.
capability, means Apache helicopter or Rafale, and launch and strike at least on one of the launch pad in POK. Now this will give a message. They will understand this language.
Okay,
They will
point
not
taken, Colonel
understand
Tyagi.
the
Thank you very
language.
much for joining us with your perspective on this big story. We've run out of time. We have to slip into a short break. Stay with NewsX.
अरे ऋषि आज स्कूल नहीं गए?